So what is going on, guys? I'm Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video on the channel where today I want to show you an Easter egg that has been found, or should I say solved, or more has been added to it, I guess is the best phrasing, within Black Ops 1, which also relates to Black Ops 3. Now, when I first saw this appear on Twitter from Rich Killer, he's a person that I've been following for an awfully long time just because, well, this is the person that you want to go to when it comes to solving ciphers within zombies. There were so many in BO3, a few in Black Ops 4 as well. This guy was doing a lot of work. In fact, he got a shout out from Treyarch back in 2018 for solving the ADFGX cipher in Mob of the Dead. If you were around during that time, you probably will know what that is. Arguably one of the most complex ciphers in zombies, perhaps. But I saw a new post over on Rich Killer's Twitter because he doesn't really post that much. I guess because, especially where zombies is right now, with no new content, there really aren't many Easter eggs getting solved, and most of the old ones have already been figured out, although we know there's still a ton in the older games, BO4, 3, 2, 1. And so when I saw this, I thought, okay, he's found a new Easter egg in Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 1. I thought it would just relate to the campaign, so I was debating whether or not I would make a video on this, but as I went on to read his Reddit post about this, well, it is super interesting, so I had to tell you guys about this. I will leave the link down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. It was found by him and also Coldstone Gamer, who said, "We found a new Easter egg from BO3 and BO1 revolving a document tied to the conspiracy theory known as Majestic 12. Now, normally when we get Easter eggs like this solved, I'm like, okay, what work can I do? And then I see what else we can link it to in COD. But, well, this Reddit post that he's put out pretty much does all of that. I read it and I thought, well, everything I would try to link to it, he's included in this post. But take a look at this, it's very interesting and also it's really complex as well. You'll have to bear with me. But it started when he stumbled upon a file that was sitting in a DLC 3 map pack in Black Ops 3. The file was named ZM_ask_pent_papers, which I'm assuming is Zombies Ascension Pentagon Papers. It is this up on screen now, and there is a transcription which is pretty difficult to read in game, but what it says is this: to be delivered by Special Courier. Directive to Lieutenant General Twining. You will proceed to the White Sands Proving Ground Command Center without delay, for the purpose of making an appraisal of the reported unidentified objects being kept there. Part of your mission there will deal with the military, political and psychological situations, current and projected. In the course of your survey, you will maintain liaison with the military officials in the area. In making your appraisal, it is desired that you proceed with detachment from any opinions or feelings expressed by personnel involved which do not conform to sound reasoning with regard to the possible outcome. In presenting the findings of your mission, you should endeavour to state as concisely as possible your estimate of the character, extent, and probable consequence in the event that assistance is not given. When your mission in New Mexico is completed, you will proceed on a brief trip to Sandia AEC facility to make an appraisal of the situation there, also of the reaction of the Las Almas people involved. Before going to White Sands, you will communicate with General Eisenhower to ascertain whether he desires you to proceed via Kirtland AAF. You will take with you such experts, technicians, scientists, and assistants as you deem necessary to the effectiveness of your mission. Approved. Date, 9th of July, 1947. And then underneath this we have the distribution with a bunch of different names and locations. But Rich Killer said, before making a transcript, I noticed the phrase White Sands, which is where the atomic bomb test took place, as the general area of Nuketown Zombies, and also Area 51 within the Ether storyline. The ZM prefix that we see on the document piqued his interest. So Rich Killer talked to his associate Coldstone, where together they transcribed the document, where Coldstone figured out that potentially this is a real US government document that was ripped straight from the 8th document on this site right here. And when you open it up, you can see it's about a conspiracy known as Majestic 12. What exactly is this then? Well, Majestic 12, also known as MJ12 for short, is a purported organisation that appears in UFO conspiracy theories. The organisation is claimed to be the codename of an alleged secret committee of scientists, military leaders, and government officials formed in 1947 to facilitate recovery and investigation of alien spacecraft. The Majestic 12 documents purported to reveal a secret committee of 12 and explain how the crash of an alien flying saucer at Roswell in July of 1947 has been concealed, how the recovered alien technology could be exploited, and how the US should engage with extraterrestrial life in the future. And so in 1994, the US Air Force published a report identifying the crashed object as a nuclear test surveillance balloon. So yeah, as you can see, pretty much the document talks about the handling of conspiracy theories relating to aliens and the atomic bomb. But one thing that Coldstone Gamer noticed was that the game's version was slightly altered, changing the signature name from Eisenhower to a name that they couldn't quite figure out. But given the ZM prefix that I talked about earlier, and knowing that this document's from DLC 3, he presumed that it could be found around Gorod Karovi somewhere. But the prefix also included the phrase Ask or Ascension, and Pent, of course, being the Pentagon, 5 and Ascension. So he went to check if perhaps these documents appeared on the Zombies Chronicles version of Ascension, and as you might have expected, quickly enough, he found several copies of the Majestic 12 document. After finding the document on the Zombies Chronicles version, he then went to check if it appeared on the original version of Ascension, and surely enough, it was there as well. And it was at this point he understood that the document was an unresolved Easter egg that Treyarch remastered from Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 3. He also went to check if it appeared in 5 as well, and it did. It appears on the table in the spawn room, and he also checked if it could be found on Gorod Karovi, since it mentioned DLC 3. It couldn't be found on that map, but surprisingly, you could find it on a multiplayer DLC 3 map called Rumble. So anyway, getting back to it, whilst they were making the transcript, they managed to find in a dusty corner of the internet somewhere, a user named Killsteer actually already made a comment about the Ascension of 5 copies a long time ago during the Black Ops 1 days. But unfortunately, it seems like not many people noticed it or paid attention. So this is where it gets more interesting, because we now know what the document is and why it could be interesting, because it was in Black Ops 1 and then re-added in BO3, so there must be something there. But since it was added on BO1, there was a big chance that it related heavily to the storyline back then. And since the story really kicked off during the end of World at War, especially on Der Riese, and then it continued with Kino, Ascension, 5, etc., remembering that Kino was supposed to be a World at War map originally, so there's not too much difference between Der Riese and then Black Ops 1's maps. So they tried to dial back and re-understand the story that we were told during the Der Riese days. And you might remember, I do especially because I've made tons of videos on this, the COD Zombie storyline in the very early days involved a lot of conspiracy theories, aliens, the Illuminati, wonder weapons, Die Glock or the teleporters, different hidden, concealed Nazi experiments. A lot of my stuff that really interests me, I don't mean in that way, I mean, you know what I mean. But basically, knowing what the old story revolved around, they wanted to ask the question, well, did Majestic 12 make an appearance within the story back then? And the answer was yes. Within the Black Ops 1 terminal, Majestic 1 is actually the password of Dr. Vannevar Bush. I never know how to pronounce that, but you enter that on BO1's terminal, and we find out that he's allegedly one of the members of the Majestic 12 committee. Within BO1's terminal, V-Bush also talks about Oppenheimer over the Dreamland server, where they discuss information regarding Verrückt and Der Riese that was found within the Der Riese database that was recovered by the Americans when Group 935 abandoned the facility. So knowing all of this, Rich Keller goes on to say, for those of you who don't know, which I'm sure a lot of you do, Oppenheimer is of course considered to be the father of the atomic bomb. The atomic bomb project was also known as the Manhattan Project, and as he said earlier, as was mentioned in the documents, it was taking place within an area of White Sands and the Sandia base. And what zombies map did we have in BO1? Nuketown Zombies. It was also a multiplayer map as well. One of the, I wouldn't say big Easter eggs in Kino, but I think it's quite well known, is on the floor you could actually find Manhattan down in random letters just spelled out, of course referring to the Manhattan Project. So basically at this point they had quite a few links. The Majestic 12 reference, which was a conspiracy theory about the atomic bomb project and involving alien aircraft and technology, which lined up with the story that we saw in Der Riese and the beginning of BO1, Kino, and a bit further, Ascension 5. And as we would later see in Moon's storyline, we had the MPD, the Moon Pyramid device, which was put there eons before by the corrupted Keepers. And then there was also the map Nuketown Zombies itself, where in its loading screen we can see, well, I'm pretty sure this has never actually been explained to us. We have 2 different versions of it. I've made countless videos on this in the past. The only bit of information that perhaps does relate to this loading screen we saw in the map Gorod Karovi, I think it was. Again, just going off my memory. A lot of this happened so many years ago, there might just be more context or things that I'm forgetting, but there was this cipher that we had in Gorod, where once decoded it read, finally the lab is almost complete. Security measures have been put in place so that the chance of detection by the Americans is very unlikely. We also have several agents embedded with the staff as insurance. We will keep the individuals in stasis, on ice to speak, and continue the specimen rotation once we finish drawing more power from the drill. Oh, I almost forgot. The sequencing for the current blood samples is as follows: SS, MJ, ABR, which of course are our transit characters Stuhlinger, Malton Johnson, Misty, and Russman. But this cipher mentions drawing power from the drill, and we see in these Nuketown loading screens what seems to be power being drawn from this drill. And strangely enough, one of the characters here is actually Dr. Schuster, Anyway, back to Rich Killer's post. After showing these loading screens, he said, there is another alluded reference to Majestic 12, which is made by Samuel Struhlinger in Transit. This is interesting because I can't remember this. He says Struhlinger goes on talking about conspiracy-related topics within Transit, including alien conspiracies, and again what seems to be an alluded reference to the Majestic 12 committee. He specifically says, I'd rather be judged by 12 than eaten by 6. He also says, I know what those aliens do, including their flying discs, as well as mentioning Atlantis. You can see the connection here, but this is all information that was available to people during Black Ops 1. I've been making videos since Black Ops 1, more towards the end of that game, but even so, knowing all of the story, forgotten quite a bit at this point, but having been up to date with this game almost since the beginning, Majestic 12 is something that I haven't really heard of before, not spoken about in this depth anyway, how integral or how involved this is or was in the storyline. Essentially, within Rich Killer's conclusion here, he says, this post thoroughly discusses the Majestic 12 document within Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 3, and how it ties within the origins of the Ether storyline in regards to the Atomic Project and the UFO conspiracies, and what came next in BO2 and BO3. We have seen that Treyarch took an Easter egg the community was largely unaware of and remastered it in Black Ops 3, possibly in the hopes that it would be found when it was remastered. This Easter egg is not solved. The file of this document includes 3 pictures which are not included with the original Majestic 12 document. The pictures could be making further references, possibly aerial pictures of a real US base on which the conspiracy theories revolve around. So this is super interesting and really piqued my interest. I don't know how much more there is to it, and especially with where the story's gone now, the reboot, how important it is, but if you're interested in the older story of zombies, World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and then the fact that these documents were remastered in BO3, you could just say, okay, maybe they put no thought into it and reused the assets, but at the same time, it is something that Treyarch wanted people to find, and since it wasn't really talked about during World at War on BO1 and BO2, maybe they thought, hey, if we put these in BO3 again, maybe this time people will take notice of them and say, yeah, this adds a little bit more to the zombie story. We knew it involved aliens in the Illuminati, different Nazi experiments, we've heard mention of Atlantis before, and we knew a little bit about Nuketown's past, but adding Majestic 12 into that makes it just that bit more deeper. And maybe there is a bit more to it. You can let me know what you think in the comments section below. Also, definitely go ahead and check out this post. I will leave the link to it down in the description, but there we go. Thank you for watching the video today. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.